Nothing like starting Friday morning yoga with a little technical difficulties. All right, friends, sorry for that delay. Let's go ahead and get started. So today's class, we'll go ahead and get started in a reclined position. So taking up as much space on or off of your mat as you would like. Really stretching out the arms, stretching out the legs, finding a comfortable space here. And we'll close the eyes or soften the gaze and start to ground ourselves. Maybe placing one hand over the chest and the other over the belly. We'll get in tune with the feeling of our breath entering the body. So feeling the belly and the chest rise as we inhale, and feeling it sink as we exhale. Starting to deepen that breath, engaging the Ujjayi pranayama, the ocean sounding breath. And maybe taking this time now to set an intention for your practice. Maybe expressing some gratitude to your body for being able to do these poses. Or maybe just some gratitude to yourself for being able to wake up this early and practice something that's good for you. On the next inhale, we can release the hands, start to open the eyes softly. We'll walk the feet up and bring the soles of the feet together, letting the knees split open like a book for our reclined butterfly pose. Starting to warm up through the hips, getting ready for our practice. And then bringing the knees back up, planting the soles of the feet back down, maybe heel toeing out to about the width of your mat and teeing the arms. We'll start to windshield wiper through our hips now, stretching through the front of our quads. Taking it nice and slow until we're nice and warmed up. And then coming back through center. So we'll bring the heels right back underneath the bottom, this time stacking the right ankle on top of the left knee, bringing our legs to a figure four pose. You have the option to reach up and bind your hands behind the left knee and pull your legs into your chest. You'll feel a very deep hip stretch. And on the exhale, we'll drop that leg over to the left side. So planting the right heel to the left of your body, tee the arms, and we'll look over our right shoulder. We'll inhale the legs back through center, release the right ankle down, maybe starting to windshield wiper again our legs, preparing to take this on our second side. So bringing legs back through center, this time stacking the left ankle over the right knee. Again, binding behind the knee if you did so on the first side, pulling the legs in towards the chest for a deep hip stretch. And on the exhale, dropping that left foot over to the right side, planting the sole of the foot down. Again, teeing the arms, this time looking over the left shoulder. On the inhale, bringing your legs back through center, untucking that ankle. Again, starting to windshield wiper the legs. And then coming back through a neutral position, we'll reach up and with our peace fingers, we'll grab our big toe mounds and pull our legs down, using those triceps to pull the legs parallel to the ground for our happy baby pose. You have the option to rock back and forth. Bring some playful movement to your practice today. Again, actively pulling down on your toes to bring your legs parallel to the ground. Again, straighten one leg and keep the other bent. And vice versa, sort of warming up through the backs of the legs. And then when you're ready, starting to bring a gentle back and forth rocking motion. And rocking all the way until you're up into a seated position. That was fun. Okay, so from here, we'll bring the soles of the feet to touch. Grab onto the ankles as we lift tall through the spine, tall through the crown of the head, as if a golden thread is pulling us upward. Once we're at our highest position, we'll start to hinge forward at the hips. And the moment you feel your back start to bend, that's where we'll stop. So keeping the integrity of the spine here. For this nice hip opening stretch, you'll feel this through your inner thigh area. Inhaling back through center, we'll go ahead and rock over our legs, coming into our tabletop or quadruped position, looking down, making sure that our ankles are directly below our shoulders, that we're spreading out our 10 fingers and grinding down through them. Checking to make sure that our knees are below our hips. And we'll start to take some gentle cat-cow. So in the inhale, dropping the belly low, gazing high. And on the exhale, rounding out through the spine, pushing away for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. We'll do 3 more rounds of this at your own breath. Returning to a neutral spine position, we'll start to take some C curves. So looking over the left shoulder, back at the left ankle, feeling a right side body stretch. And then doing the same on the right side. And just following your own pace, taking the C curves as your body needs them. Then we'll start to do some gentle body movements. So we'll first do a circle. So warming up the wrists, we'll shift the hips down as if we're coming into child's pose, and then forward. So sort of making a circular motion here. And then going the other direction. before coming back to a neutral spine. From here, we'll flip the toes and engage the core. So pulling the belly button in towards the spine, we'll engage our core to lift our knees about 1 inch off the ground, coming into animal pose. Starting to build some heat in the body. And on the exhale, we'll drop back down onto the ground. So planting your right hand directly below your heart, we'll twist open to the left side, gazing high, following our hand. And on the exhale, twisting, threading the needle underneath, resting our weight onto our left shoulder. You have the option to bind the right hand into your left front pocket. And with your next exhale, releasing that bind if you took it, replacing that right hand underneath your heart, reversing our twist, and then floating that hand back down. So taking this on our second side, placing the left hand below the heart now, twisting open to the right, gazing high. And on the exhale, threading that needle on our second side, weight will rest in the right shoulder. And taking the bind on that side if you took it on the first. So we'll take our left hand to our right front pocket. On the next exhale, releasing that bind, replanting your left hand, reversing your twist up, and then floating that hand back down to meet the second. From here, we'll start to go into some of our core exercises. So stepping back into your plank, we'll step our left foot back actually as if we were going to a plank, reaching our right arm forward. To challenge your core even more, we can lift those limbs to bring them parallel to the ground and hold them here. If you want to challenge yourself even further, we can shift the right arm and left leg 45 degrees away from the midline of the body, sort of challenging our balance here. So don't forget to find your drishti, your non-moving focal point in front of you to help you balance. And exhaling back through center, we'll float those limbs back down and take this on our second side. So grinding down through that right hand, we'll extend the left, extend the right leg. We're good here, just hanging out here, or lifting, coming up to parallel to the ground. And if we're comfortable here, after we found our drishti, shifting the limbs 45 degrees away from the midline of the body. Inhaling back through center, exhale, we'll drop those limbs back down. So from here, we'll walk the feet out from behind us, coming into our high plank pose. We'll shift the hips back for our first downward dog of today's practice, starting to pedal out through the backs of the legs, finding some length here in our calves and hamstrings, keeping a generous bend in the knees until we get warmed up. And on your inhale, we'll start to tiptoe our way into a forward fold. So feet coming up to meet the hands. Maybe grabbing opposite elbow, starting to shake the body left and right in our ragdoll pose. Maybe shaking the head no, or nodding it yes. Exhale, we'll release the hands down. Inhale, hands come to shins, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold again. Inhale, reversing your swan dive, coming up nice and high. We'll exhale, hands down through center, coming into our mountain pose. Let's do that one more time for our first sun cell. So inhaling, hands up nice and high. Exhaling down through center, bending through the knees for our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. This time planting the hands down, we'll step it back for our high plank. Exhale to lower down with control. Inhale, we'll scoop through your version of the back bend for today's practice. So available to you is baby cobra. So just bringing the chest off the ground. Full cobra, bringing the abdomen off the ground as well. Or full up dog, which is where your hands, or all of your weight is in your hands and the tops of your feet. So deciding what back bend you'd like for today's practice, and then sticking with it or challenging yourself to find a new one. We'll exhale to lower back down, push through into our downward facing dog. Inhale, we'll lift our right leg long behind us. Exhale to curl, knee to nose. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to curl. Inhale to lengthen once more. Exhale, curling in, this time planting the foot between the hands. Dropping that back knee, untucking the toes, taking our Anjaneyasana, our deep hip lunge on this side. So you'll feel a deep hip stretch in your left hip if your right foot is extended. On the exhale, planting hands down to frame the foot, untucking the back toe, lifting the back knee, step it back into your plank. We'll exhale, lower down with control. Inhale, scoop through your back bend. Exhale, lower down, coming into our downward facing dog. We'll take 2 breaths here before we move to our second side. And on the inhale, lifting your left leg high this time. Exhale, curling nose or knee to nose. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to curl. Inhale to lengthen. One more time. Exhale to curl. This time planting the foot in between the hands, dropping that right knee, untucking the right toes, taking our deep hip stretch, our Anjaneyasana on this side now. Exhale, we'll lower our hands down, plant them to frame the foot. Inhale, untuck those back toes and lift that back knee. Step it back for our high plank. Exhale to lower down with control. Inhale, scoop through your back bend. Exhale, lower down with control. We'll meet in our downward facing dog. Taking 3 breaths here. Gazing up between our hands, you have the option to hop, skip, jump, or walk your way up into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reversing your swan dive, coming up nice and high. And exhaling, hands down through prayer heart center, and then palms facing forward for our mountain pose. This time we'll take a nice deep inhale, reaching hands up. Exhale to forward fold, generous bend in the knees. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time sweeping the hands long by the feet, dropping the bottom down into our chair pose. Weight should be in the heels, not the toes. And if hands are uncomfortable overhead, you have the option to bring them to prayer heart center if you have any shoulder discomfort. Maybe dropping a little lower if you can. Exhale, we'll dive forward. Plant our hands, step our feet back into our high plank. Exhale, lower down with control. Inhale, scoop through your back bend. Exhale, lower down. Flip the toes, send the hips back for our downward facing dog. From here, we can drop the knees down, keeping the knees together or sending the knees wide. The only thing that needs to stay together is the big toe mounds. We'll drop the hips back into our child's pose, and you can bring your forehead or your cheek down onto the ground. Child's pose is always accessible to you during any of the practices. And if we're in child's pose, it's generally a good time to get water, but please get water anytime that you need it. Inhale, we'll rock our way up, coming into our tabletop position. Step our feet back into our high plank, and then send our hips back for our downward facing dog. Inhale, we'll lift our right leg long behind us. Exhale, curl the knee in, shifting weight forward over the hands. Step the foot in between the hands. That back foot will drop parallel to the back of the mat. Windmill our arms open into our warrior two pose here. Looking down, making sure that knee is tracking over the ankle and not falling in. We'll bring the shoulders up to the ears and then roll them down the back, making sure they're away from the neck. On the exhale, dropping that front arm to the front leg, sweeping through our extended side angle, trying to create one line with the outside of the body. Inhale, we'll reverse our warrior. So top hand comes to lower back, thigh or calf, just not the knee. Exhale back into your warrior two. We're going to practice the balance pose here today, which is warrior three. So we'll go into this nice and slow, but you'll start to walk that back foot in. So from our warrior two, we would have one hand in either direction. From here, we're going to have both hands forward. So you can reach both hands forward now. We'll shift that back foot to face forward like the front foot. And if you're still comfortable here, starting to tip yourself over, coming into our warrior three. So trying to find the parallel body with the ground. You're balancing on one leg, reaching arms forward, gazing forward. And then when you're ready, we'll drop it back down into our warrior two pose. Cartwheel the hands down to frame that front foot. Step it back into your high plank. Exhale, lower down with control. Inhale, scoot through your back bend. Exhale to lower down. Send those hips up and back for our downward facing dog. 2 breaths here before we move to the second side. Inhale, we'll sweep that left leg long behind us this time. Exhale to curl forward, bringing the nose to knee, shifting weight into the hands. We'll step the foot in between the hands, drop that back leg parallel to the back of the mat. Again, windmilling our arms open to come into our warrior two on the second side. Rolling those shoulders down the back, away from the ears. On the exhale, dropping that front arm to the front leg, sweeping through our extended side angle. Again, trying to make one continuous line with the outside of the body. On the inhale, shifting into our reverse warrior. So top hand comes into the back pocket, thigh or calf, just not the knee. And then our front arm will reach back behind us. On the exhale, shifting back into our warrior two. We'll start to walk that back foot in, preparing for warrior three on our left side. So grinding down those left toes, trying to find some stability there. We'll point our feet to face the same direction. Reach those arms forward, and when you're ready, we'll start to shift our weight forward and then just sort of tip into our warrior three. So reaching forward actively. Exhale, we'll drop it back into our warrior two pose, reaching those hands out in either direction. Take a deep breath here, and then exhale, we'll cartwheel the hands down to frame that front foot. Step it back into our high plank. Exhale to lower down with control. Inhale, scooping through your back bend. Exhale, lowering down, sending those hips up and back for a downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Inhale, scooping that right leg long behind us, 3-legged dog. Exhale, curling that weight forward. This time, planting the foot outside of the right foot, or of the right hand, excuse me. You can drop that back knee down, untuck those back toes. If you're comfortable here in lizard pose, you're welcome to stay here. If you would like to get down deeper, you can walk yourself down onto your forearms, feeling an even deeper hip stretch. If you can't find a space between forearms down and palms down, you're welcome to bring a block or some books or even a pillow. Some days we just need to bring the earth up to us. On the inhale, starting to walk the hands back underneath of us, untucking the back toes, lifting the back knee. We'll send our right leg back, 3-legged dog. And when we're ready, bending the knee, starting to tip yourself over, coming into wild thing on our right side. So pushing hips up towards the sky. Right hand is reaching up towards the sky. And then exhale to flip back over, coming into our 3-legged dog. We can float that foot back down, preparing to take this on our left side. So inhale, scooping that left leg long behind us. Exhale, curling that knee forward, bringing weight into the hands, stepping the left foot outside of the left hand. We'll drop right knee down, untuck the right toes. So if we're comfortable with our lizard pose on this side, staying here. And if you'd like to challenge yourself further, bringing your forearms down onto the ground, feeling a deeper hip stretch. On the inhale, starting to walk the hands back underneath the body. Untucking those right toes, lifting the right knee, extending the left leg long behind us. From here, we'll start to bend the knee, opening up through the hips, taking our wild thing on our second side if we did so on our first. Pushing hips up towards the sky, this time left arm reaching up towards the sky. Exhale, tipping yourself back over into your 3-legged dog, floating that left leg down. We'll start to pedal out through the backs of the legs. We'll take 3 breaths here in our downward facing dog. You're welcome to take your breaths in child's pose and meet us back in downward facing dog. Inhale, we'll scoop the right leg long behind us, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bringing that knee in, shifting weight into the hands, stepping the foot in between the hands this time, starting to heel toe the right foot over to the left hand. From here, we'll drop the leg parallel to the front of the mat, coming into our pigeon pose. So it's less important that your leg is parallel to the mat as it is that this right hip is on the ground. So if you're comfortable there, nice proud chest, using your hands to support you. And on the exhale, starting to walk ourselves down. You can keep yourself on your palms, or you can bring it down onto your forearms, or all the way down so that your forehead is on the mat. Whatever you're comfortable with today. Reminding yourself that pigeon is a difficult pose. It's a very deep hip stretch pose. So to be gentle with yourself. If you feel any pinching, tingling, or numbness in the legs, that's your body telling you to come out of this pose. So we're making sure that we're checking in with our body and that we're listening. On the inhale, starting to walk those hands back underneath the body, lifting up. We'll start to untuck the left toes, lift the left knee. Being gentle coming out of our pigeon pose, we'll return to our 3-legged dog. And then this time, bringing that leg underneath the body, planting the heel on the ground, extending the left arm up for our fallen star pose. Exhale, replanting that hand, coming back into our downward facing dog. 2 breaths here before we go to our second side. Inhale, scooping that left leg long behind us, 3-legged dog. We'll exhale, curl knee to nose before stepping our left foot in between our hands. From here, starting to heel toe that foot over to the right side, dropping down onto our hip for a pigeon pose on our second side. So again, what's more important is having the hip down rather than having this foot parallel to the front of the mat. So walking that ankle in as needed. One hip will be more tight than the other, so be gentle with yourself if you're struggling in this side or you struggled in the first side and find this side easier. It's totally normal. So on the exhale, starting to walk our hands down in front of us, coming onto our forearms, staying on our palms, or walking down so that the face is on the mat, whatever is in your practice. On the inhale, starting to walk your hands back underneath your body, lifting up. We'll plant the hands back down, lift the right or untuck the right toes, lift the right knee, step it back into our 3-legged dog. Taking our fallen star pose on our second side if we took it on the first. So this time left heel is down and right arm is extended up. Exhale, we'll replant that hand, Coming back into our downward facing dog. From here, we'll shift our weight forward into a plank. Exhale to lower ourselves down with control. So we'll prepare to take our Sphinx pose. So we'll come up onto the forearms, have the hands reaching out long in front of us, toes are untucked. From here, we'll shift or we'll pull the shoulders back, pull the chest forward, gazing forward. You'll feel a deep stretch in your abdomen. And this is our Sphinx pose. So we're actively pulling ourselves forward. Maybe taking a time to look over our right shoulder, back at our right ankle. Coming back through center, and then looking over our left shoulder, back at the left ankle. Inhale back through center. And we'll go ahead and walk our elbows out to the side, placing the left cheek onto the palms, the backs of the palms. Start to massage our hips by rocking them back and forth. And then relax through center. Reach our hands back towards our feet, preparing for our Locust Pose. So this is a baby back bend. It's a good core stabilizer. So for our Locust Pose, we'll be pulling ourselves up off of the mat using our shoulders and our lower back. We're actively reaching back for our feet. So feet can stay down or they can be lifted to deepen the back bend, whatever you're comfortable with. So we'll do this one together. So on your inhale, engaging your lower back, reaching actively back for your feet for Locust. Holding here. Exhale, lowering down, bringing right cheek to the mat this time. And on the inhale, again, reaching back, Locust Pose. Holding here. And then lowering down onto the mat. So from here, we can use our arms to shift ourselves over into a supine position, so gazing up. We're preparing for our final relaxation pose. So for this pose, you can take corpse pose, of course, taking up as much room on or off of your mat as you would like. Or you can take our reclined butterfly. So as we started with the soles of the feet together, the knees wide like a book. So finding your final relaxation pose now. We'll close the eyes or soften the gaze. Releasing our Ujjayi pranayama, releasing our active breath. Returning to a normal breath. Scanning the body and releasing any tension that may remain. Making sure that the forehead is not scrunched up, that the lips are not pursed. Letting the arms fall all the way down to the ground. We come into our final Shavasana. Starting to deepen the breath again, bringing your awareness back to this room, back onto your mat. Maybe starting to bring some gentle movement back to the body, making fists with the hands, wiggling your toes. From whatever position you're in now, shifting slowly into the reclined fetal position, so resting the head on the arms, keeping the eyes closed or the gaze softened here. And then with as little effort as possible, coming into a comfortable seated position. We'll inhale the arms up nice and high overhead. Exhale, draw them down through prayer heart center. The light within me honors and respects the light within each of you. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me this Friday morning, folks. If you haven't done so, please make sure that you fill out a waiver. I'll drop the link in the chat. Make sure to let us know what you liked or what you would like to see next week. I'm happy to work that into our flow. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Kat. That was great.
Hi, Kat. Love you.
Thank you.